Iowa. Good to see you all. Come here, Joe. I'm Jill Biden's husband. Folks, I know I got 5 minutes. I'm going to be very brief and quick with you. I'm running for 3 reasons, and I've said it from the beginning. One, we have to restore the soul of this country. When we saw coming out of Charlottesville that hate and that venom that we saw, and then the president saying, when asked about the groups that met him as well as the young woman when she was killed, what did he think about it? He said there were very fine people in both groups. Very fine people. And when the middle class does well, everybody does well. The poor do well, the wealthy do well, and the middle class is the thing that the glue that holds us together. But it's falling apart right now. We're no longer the wealthiest middle class in the world. We're in a situation where you have a significant portion, over 50% of them, saying that their children will never have the life that they had. My dad used to have an expression. He'd say, you know, Joe, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. How can you, in fact, have dignity? How can you, in fact, have this notion of being able to look your kid in the eye and say everything's going to be okay if you don't have adequate health care? What do you do when you turn and you look at a child and has a pre-existing condition and there's nothing you can do about it? Or when your child or someone you love has a terminal disease and it's come like my son did and come along. I can't imagine what it would be like watching him and his coming home from Iraq with an incurable disease, given months to live, if an insurance company would be able to come in and say, by the way, your time's up, suffer in peace the last 4 months. It's about being able to have an education for your child that you know they need and you know they have an opportunity for. That's why I think we should be out there and we can afford it, tripling the amount of money we spend on what's called Title I schools, raising salaries for teachers, making sure that we deal really early on with all those crises. We know if we send kids to school at 3, 4, and 5 years old, they have exponentially greater prospects of succeeding. Every study has demonstrated that. We also know we need teachers. My wife is a full-time teacher, taught all during being when we're vice president. The fact of the matter is we're in a situation now where for every psychologist in the school system, there are 1,700 kids. What are we doing? What are we doing? We can afford to change this if we just get rid of some of this god-awful tax cut that was passed. The idea that we're in a position that we have $1.6 trillion worth of loopholes in the law. You can't possibly justify $400 to $500 billion of that. I can make sure that every single solitary person in the country has adequate health insurance. Build on Obamacare. Make sure it has a public option. Increase the prospect of how we're going to lower drug price. I don't have time to go into it unless you ask me about it. How much time do I have left?
15 minutes.
How much? 15 seconds? Oh, to speak? Oh! You're in real trouble then, man. That's a bad thing to tell me I got more time to speak. Well, look, folks, the idea that we can't gain control and give people a fighting chance is simply not correct. There used to be a basic bargain in America. And Republicans and Democrats agreed on it. We disagreed on the extent of it, but we agreed on it beginning after the end of the Roosevelt administration. And that is, if you contributed to the well-being of the company you work with or the outfit you work with, you got to share in the benefits. And if it went well, you did well. That's no longer the case anymore. We've adopted a position in America that says the only people who entitled to rewards are stockholders because they're the only job creators. They've adopted this notion that the only people who are engaged in and able to get the rewards that corporations make are, in fact, the people who are the stockholders because they're the job creators. Well, I've noticed the folks delivering the grain to the mill, they are job creators. I notice the people who make the automobiles, they create jobs. I notice the people who build this country are ordinary, hard-working people who've been given half a chance. And folks, the idea that we don't reward work as much as wealth is bizarre. We're in a situation where you have the top 1%, in fact, paying a lower tax rate than you do because it's mostly capital gains than more than a teacher, a firefighter, a cop. It's ridiculous. We should be rewarding work not just wealth. We should be raising the corporate tax rate. So folks, this is all within our capacity to do this. It's all within our capacity. We are squandering so much money, so much in taxes, tax breaks for people who don't need them. And by the way, the wealthy know they don't need them. They're not bad people, they don't need another tax cut. If you're making more than $10 million, man, I'm not your guy. You don't need a tax cut, and you know it. But people who need a tax cut are the people we make sure we can provide for. Make sure we can provide for free community college. We're in a situation where we can put every single solitary person who in fact is eligible, qualifies, and those people who've lost their jobs in their 50s because of automation go back to be retrained. We can do that all for about $6 billion a year. Eliminate one single little thing. It's called stepped up basis. I didn't know what it was because I used to be listed as the poorest man in the Congress. I didn't understand it. What happened was, if you have a capital gain, you're about to cash it in, you get hit by a truck, God forbid, you leave it to your son or daughter, they pay no tax. That costs the government $17 billion a year out of $1.6 trillion. Eliminate that one tax that can do it. Put every single qualified person in community college for free and or trade school, cutting in half the cost of college. There's so many opportunities we have to change things in this country. Folks, we can invest, we will invest $40 billion, $44 billion in research and development for new technologies that deal with sequestering of carbon. You farmers out here can have an entire new life. They can be the first group of Americans to actually get carbon-free environment that they generate. And so, but in the process, if we do this, we'll create 10 million new jobs. And it's real. If we invest in research and development and technologies that are the technology of the future, we should become the net exporters of this capability and technology. We have a potential to do that. We underestimate our capacity so badly. And ladies and gentlemen, if you go back to healthcare, we can control drug prices. My proposal is, and I ran the what they call the moonshot, dealing with cancer. And something after that set up the Biden Cancer Initiative. And here's the point. We're on the verge of solving so many chronic diseases. It's within our capacity to do it. But we have to actually go out and we have to fund it. For example, now, those of you who've been in the Defense Department, those of you who've been in the military, know there's an outfit called DARPA. It's the thing that allows the military to do advanced research and everything from stealth technology, the internet, and all those other things. And they've done it, and they've invested because they've got the best minds in the world inside. They make, well, Biden's kind of been around too long. The other side is Biden's naive. Well, I don't know, I've been around a long time. You'd think being around a long time, you'd learn a little something, you know? And the thing I've learned is that the American people, after 4 years, after 3 years already of this guy, have decided that a lot of what he's talking about is hokum. Look what happened this last election in 2018 around the country. I went into over 24 states and over 69 candidates. And I went into those purple states and those red states as well. And in those states, we won back 41 seats, beating Republicans. Why we did it? By the way, not all Republicans. I want to represent everybody. But here's the deal. The fact of the matter is, we ran on health care. It wasn't until they started taking away health care, everybody realized how important it was that you're able to cover pre-existing conditions. 20 million more people, over 100,000 people who in fact were able to get coverage because of pre-existing conditions. And so we go on and on, but the proposal is we're able to go out and make sure that everybody is protected by building on Obamacare, restoring the historic deal that we did. In addition to that, adding a Medicare-like option to it, so you can buy into that if you wish to do it. Every single brand, but you're able to keep, if you like your employer-based policy, you can keep that policy, as long as they keep the policy. And so the folks of the matter is, it costs a lot of money. It costs about $740 billion over 10 years. But guess what? It doesn't cost $30 trillion. $30 trillion that the other plans cost, which are going to raise middle-class taxes. Bernie's honest enough to tell you that. There's going to have to be a tax. There's going to be withholding tax on your from your paycheck. Folks, we can cover everybody. And we can do it in a way that allows people the choice that they want. If they don't like what they have, they can buy in. If they don't like what they have, they can buy in immediately. So folks, look, in terms of unifying the country, you know, we never lived up to it, but America has been an idea. It's the most unique idea in all the world, not a joke. There's not, only thing that can defeat America is America. There's no army strong enough, no dictator powerful enough, no ocean wide enough that in fact can overcome what we're able to do. We can do whatever we want to do if we remember we can do it together. Folks, you know, the reason I did my last announcement in Philadelphia was to make a point that we are a nation that is unique. We hold these truths self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, etc. We've never fully lived up to that, but we've never abandoned it before. We've never walked away from it. Jefferson, who wrote it, didn't live up to it. He had slaves. We've never fully lived, but every single generation, every generation has bent the arc more toward inclusion. Every generation. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're who we are. We are the most unique idea. It's an idea we cannot abandon. And folks, we are better prepared to own the 21st century than any nation in the world by a long shot. When I got elected...
I don't know if anyone can see, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, the great view of some guy's face.
I'm the only guy who did a national before. Fine crime, background check bill, ready bill. We can do it again. I believe everything the president says is quite true. And I'm not sure there's much of a mistake. As a matter of fact, it may be worse. In fact, out there trying to curry favor. So whether he is or is not a white supremacist, he encourages them, everything he does, he speaks to them, he's afraid to take them on. And notice the one time he used the word white supremacist. What do we do? Shut them down. We want one nation. No one nation. That was it wasn't just to stop. It was to no one nation. That's why we said that. That's why we do things. Folks said no one nation is the end of the road.